Coach Deborah has a passion and purpose to assist young men, ages 15 to 24, to overcome obstacles and build their best lives. She wants to see every young man live out their potential. She has a master's degree in human services counseling, with a major in life coaching. More importantly, she is the mother of 3 boys, who are exceptional, educated, professional men. Coach Deborah believes it is better to train early, rather than need to fix later. She utilizes basic principles and God-led concepts. Sometimes the only thing a young man has is their credibility or their name. The actions they take are based on the decisions they make. Those decisions align with their choices and result in consequences. Coach Deborah can assist you if you are lost, floundering, or confused. Embrace the help and start building your best life today.
Good morning. Happy Saturday. How are you, Anastasia?
I am good. I am good. How are you doing this morning, Miss Deborah?
I'm doing wonderful. Can't complain. It's another day, another gift. So I am super excited and happy. Well,
That's
thank you
good.
everyone for tuning in this morning. Come on in here. We want you to like, comment, share as we prepare to get started. You know, it's all about reach this year. And this month we're talking about self-love. But today, Anastasia, on Real Talk, we're changing it up a little bit, and we're going to be talking about double standards today. Double standards, because you know we live in a society where certain things should be equal, but some areas still have disparities or double standards. And then we have some people that think one way and some think another way. But this morning, Anastasia and I are going to go through and talk about some of the areas that we think that there may be double standards and give our perspectives on those. But please come on in here and prepare to share, take notes, make comments. We love to have comments. So please put them in. Good morning, Dan. Thank you for tuning in. And so, Anastasia, before we get into that, is there anything new that you have going on?
Well, the only thing that I have going on is not exactly new, but it is taking um, somewhat of a new direction. I am currently working in education, and that has been about 20 years now. You know, despite the look on my face, it's been about 20 years now. And the direction that I am trusting in God to take with it is the direction or the specialty of special needs. It has been incorporated in the education system in my work for a long time now. And so I've finally made the decision to dig a little bit deeper into it and to wholly dive into it, and hopefully not only the assistance or the impact that I make can be with children generally, but with those that have different needs than others.
Okay, sounds good. Great stuff. Well, again, this morning, Anastasia and I, you know, we always keep it real, but we're going to be talking about these double standards. You know, since the beginning of time, there have been norms for males versus females. If you think way back, ladies didn't wear pants, ladies didn't cut their hair, men didn't do housework such as cooking and cleaning. They thought, oh, that's, you know, that's for ladies only. Ladies had to cover their hair in public, but then times changed. Things loosened up. Ladies still wore hats and wore gloves to church. It was the men that had tats. Men always wore shirts and ties, but then times changed again. Men started wearing more relaxed clothing. Ladies began to wear pants to church. Still more changes. Everyone started getting piercings. Everybody, both sexes, started getting tattoos. And guess what? Both sexes began to wear bright colors. But with all the social stigma tied to people and their actions, it makes some people say, well, it's unfair. Men get to do more things. Women shouldn't do certain things. Some even believe that women should stay home and cook and only men should work. And I thought that was like taboo until I kept hearing about, what was it? Love and Marriage in Huntsville. And this one husband, he didn't want his wife to do anything but stay home and have a hot meal and those kids taken care of. He didn't want her to do anything. So I was like, what? But then still others say, the heck with all of those things. I'm going to do me. So it really makes you wonder if there is still double standards. So while Anastasia and I are not experts, we from different generations, we are going to talk about some of those possible double standards this morning. All right.
Yeah, we are. Even more recent than, men men being the only ones to wear pants and men being the only ones to work and vote and all of those other things that women had to fight so hard to be able to do, to own land and all of that. We have situations like the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation. Even though that has happened years and years ago, when his name is said, that is still the association. Since then, he's been a great artist. He has put out albums almost every year. He is one of the most featured artists of our time. Everybody that has a song, they already had a song that had him on it. So he's done a lot. He's been acting, he's been producing, all of these other things. But when you hear his name called, that is still the one thing that's associated with his name. And it is like if he had known that that one night would be so detrimental and affect the rest of his life in the way that it did, I'm sure that he wouldn't have done it. But also, we can look at a situation like Bow Wow and Kiyomi Leslie. In this situation, she was the attacker. She was the aggressor. There were photos, there was actual video of her attacking him in the elevator. There were photos of his face all scratched up and beaten and everything the same way Rihanna's was. But Bow Wow was the one that was targeted in this situation. Oh, what kind of man are you? You're letting a woman beat you up. Oh, what kind of thing is this? You're allowing her to do all of this stuff to you and look like you was fighting with a cougar instead of a woman. And he ended up with all sorts of talk and flack. And when his name is mentioned now, this situation is attached to it. How he allowed this female to beat him up so badly and all the rest of this other stuff. And even more recently than that, there was a situation where Busta Rhymes, the rapper, he was standing in an open area. I believe it was in a lobby area. And a fan walked up to him and grabbed his butt. And, and his response was to turn around and throw a drink at her. Now, Miss Deborah, I don't know, what your clubbing experiences have been like, but I know for me, if a guy touches me in that type of way and he violates my personal space, that's going to be my first response too. I'm going to turn around and be like, what in the what? Throw a drink at you. You need to calm down. Let me help you to cool off.
Right.
And here, have this. Let me help you to cool off. But there was a whole great big conversation about it because he did not hit her, push her, as far as I know, even curse her out or anything like that. But she felt like it was okay for her to be able to just walk up on this man you do not know, you have no relationship with, no commonalities with, and violate his personal space and just, touch him in a sexual manner and it would just be okay. But if the roles were reversed, and if she had had any young man, not even someone of his stature and wealth, but any man walk up on her and do the same thing, she's ready to press charges.
Right.
She ready to call Pookie and them from on the corner and be like, listen, y'all need to come and handle this guy. This is crazy, And
Yeah.
so the double standards are definitely real. They are definitely still in place. And though they've evolved from being the inability to vote and the inability to work and the inability to buy land and things like that, it still has not stopped. It hasn't ended. It has only evolved and changed into new and different ways that men are able to do some things that women are not. And in the other way around, women feel that they may be able to do some things that men cannot. But
Right.
then there are still those stigmas in both ways and in both sexes.
You're right. And it's amazing, the number of female teachers now that you see that are molesting
Mm,
or whatever our young men. Is like, huh? Really?
right, right. It
Yeah.
used to go the other way around a lot, but yeah.
Yep. Totally different. Yeah, I love those different scenarios, but it's just amazing, like you say, if he does it, it turns out one way. If she does the same thing, it's a whole different scenario.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about like some fun areas that I think is just really, really silly. Some of them that people find issue with. And so I'm going to start out with manicures and pedicures. You know, I don't understand why some people think men shouldn't get manicures and pedicures. To me, that's not a big deal. This is not back in the dark ages when men were just out doing construction work and outside work, and their nails were all grungy, the hands all rough, and so that's how you expected them. We have men now that are working in offices, they're entrepreneurs. You want some man shaking your hand, and all you can see is crusty skin and dirt and cuticles popping up. No, their hands need to look nice, just like you would expect the female's hands to look nice that's in an office. So, what is wrong with that? So you're getting your manicures. I haven't seen, maybe some of them do get color, but I haven't seen anybody get color. But if they want to get color, hey, everybody should be able to do, to me, let people do themselves. Whatever they want to do, that should be fine. But then also, the shoe styles are different now. Men wear sandals, their toes out. And again, we're talking about a lot of mental health issues going on. What a great place for a man to be able to sit, turn on that massaging in that chair, and get that pedicure. Just float away all that stress and anxiety from the week, talking to God, just enjoying themselves. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with it. So, it's like, darn if I do and darn if I don't. People always want to find fault with something in someone's life. So, of all the things that we have going on in the world today that are issues, you worried about a man getting a mani and a pedi. That's just silly to me. But I hope you think about it from the perspective that I'm giving. This is not the dark ages. Men are meeting and networking. They need to have nice looking hands.
Right.
And then getting the petties. If you haven't had a petty, you need to go and relax. It's not a point of, well, I don't see why people go and spend money doing that. It's time you can relax. Nobody's going to bother you.
Mhm.
So that's
Okay.
my opinion on that.
Oh, definitely, Miss Deborah. I am not one of those that really do the acrylic nails or anything like that. I'm not normally, but I will still say I've done them before, and I love the way my hands look after I've gotten a new set on. I try to keep them on as long as possible because, it just adds a little bit of extra feminine flair to me, and it takes you a little out of the normal where, it's just the regular stuff. And it adds a little, I think that getting your nails done, your hair done, your makeup done, all of those things can be placed on the same field. Like when you wear your own hair and you put it in a bun or whatever else, you still look nice. But
Mhm.
when you step out of that beauty salon, it's a whole different nice that's on you, when you put on your own makeup and you do that little 5 minute face, yeah, it's good, it's nice, you added a little extra. But if you go to that makeup artist because you've got that special occasion, it's a whole different type of nice that's on you. And so I take it the same way, when you go ahead and you're able to sit and let somebody else do it for you and it's done professionally, it gives you a greater feeling. And like you mentioned, there are there's a therapeutic aspect
Mhm.
to sitting and getting your nails done and your feet done. My dad does not go to the point of nails done, but he will do that massage chair. He will absolutely do that massage chair. And my dad has worked in construction and still works in general maintenance
Mhm.
as long as I've known him, my entire life, for sure. He may not do the hands and nails, but he will definitely do that massage chair and he will sit there and he will fall asleep if he can, whether it's in the middle of the mall or not, because men also need that escape.
All right.
Usually, men would turn to hanging out at a bar or some other method in order to have their escape time and their relaxed time and things like that. But if there's a gentleman that has chosen this as their way to escape and their decompress and their opportunity to relax, then more power to you. You're not hurting anybody. Go ahead with it. And then also we can get into men wearing bright colors. That used to be unheard of. Men don't wear pink. Real men don't wear pink. That used to be such a slogan. Even if it was breast cancer month, men weren't allowed to wear pink. You're not a real man if you're wearing pink and yellow and soft colors and things like that. But it's become more of a norm.
Mhm.
Back in the day, you would always have, and I remember Steve Harvey doing a video, and he was saying that as a man, there are only certain things that you need in your wardrobe. You need tan, black, and navy in your jacket, in your pants. You can add white as a color for your shirt and a pair of black and blue shoes, black and tan shoes.
Mhm.
And you can switch those up and move those around in every direction, and you will have yourself a whole new looking suit each time. And there was this guy on TikTok. He he used Steve Harvey's voiceover to actually do the clothing changes. And
Okay.
I was like, you know what? He's right. Like those were always the standard. As long as you have that tan, that black, that navy blue tie jacket pants, you could switch up the shirt a little bit, add a little white in it, maybe a baby blue or something like that. But that is it. the power suit is still navy blue, you know?
Hmm.
Those those darker colors, those more standard colors are what were accepted in the workplace. They were the common thing. A man would have an entire closet of different types or different shades, but still within those colors. But now, listen, especially in the world of religion, those suits, listen, those socks, even down to the socks, we've now come to the place where men will taper their pants so that their socks are peeking out just a bit from their shoe so that you can see the color and the pattern that's in their socks and how it matches the rest of the outfit because my shoes match my socks match my pants match my shirt, and everything else. It's not so much of a stigma anymore. I believe that it began with the support of breast cancer and the different ribbons, because in the workplace, those things are highly supported. And so men had been given the opportunity and it had become more acceptable for them to wear the purple for lupus and the yellow and all of those other things, those other colors. And then I believe it just translated out into more of their casual lives. But it is not such a big deal. In the same way that colors can complement females, and you know that in your skin tone, an olive green works for you better than a chartreuse, it's the same thing works with men.
Right.
Like I do not understand why it was such a big issue, but I am very grateful that we've come to the point where we're able to move past that and we're able to, because now there are brands like Psycho Bunny and even Sean John did it a bit back in the day in the 90s and things like that. But Ed Hardy. And, there are a lot of clothing brands that did these bright patterns and these bright colors. And
Right.
Ed Hardy was entirely known for being, the douchebag clothing line with all of the tigers and these
Yeah.
weird looking little
Right.
things. But everybody wore them and they were fine. Like we got into it being more and more acceptable that, you know what? Maybe he looks better in orange than he does in black, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And it's amazing, even with Steve Harvey, if you watch Family Feud, I mean, he comes out there with those different colors. I mean, every color under the sun, and he looks so sharp. So
Yes.
um, I love it, to see him with those colors on and the way they do the hankies now, and a lot of them are wearing
Hmm.
pins instead. So I love it. And then, also it gives the couples a bigger opportunity to dress alike. A lot of couples like to wear, similar colors or same colors. So, that opens that up as well. So I love men in the bright colors. Nothing is taboo. Do you, fellas? Do you? All right. Now another one I've heard about double standards is females shouldn't tinker with cars. Okay, why not? Some girls really love the Mustangs. And so they'll be out there in the Mustang clubs under the hoods, just like the fellas. So what is wrong with that? I mean, that's just fine. But then I want to really get down to it being practical as well. Now, when I was coming up or younger, they didn't have it in the school, but you would hear a lot of the little powder, they would call it powder puff. Um, Not like a seminar, but powder puff, where you could go to different dealerships and they would teach you minor things, because let's face it, everyone's not married. Everybody doesn't have a significant other. Everyone doesn't have a father or uncle or big brother that can come if something happens. You know, you get ready to go out the door and you go outside and car doesn't start. So if you don't have anybody to call, you're just gonna panic and call somebody to tow it in. You're talking about ching ching money, right?
Mhm.
Hey, so what's wrong with learning the basic maintenance of your car, of any car? You know, how to, I don't think they do it so much now, but I mean, I had learned how to put air in my tire, check the pressure in my tires, check the oil. And it is really, 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 to me, important to know minor things. You keep air pump in your car or whatever, because it's night or dusk and you feel your car wobbling, you jump out and look real quick and your tire's going flat. Hurry up and put some air in there, enough to get you somewhere where it's light and somebody can look at it, because it is too dangerous nowadays to let anybody assist you. 30, 40 years ago, it was okay if you were broke down, people would stop, they would help you, and you didn't have to worry about, oh, what is this person going to do to me? People stop now and get broke down on the road. You find their car, their purse, but they're nowhere in sight. So it's really, really dangerous. So it would behoove people, females to me, to learn basic things, just like when you go to get your maintenance done. So hey, go get your maintenance done, but they're going to tell you you need this and this and this and this. If you don't know anything about a car, what are you going to say? Okay, well, you need an air filter. That's gonna, the filter costs $49.99 or $69.99, and it's gonna cost, we're gonna charge $150 to put it in. Well, okay, if I need it, they don't
Right.
cost that much. So if you know anything about a car as a female, you can say, okay, well, thanks for pointing that out. Stop by one of the auto stores on the way home and get you the filter. It might cost you $29, and go home and pop it in. It doesn't take that much. Most of them, you go through the glove box. But if you don't know that, then you're going to end up paying 200 anywhere, depending on what type of car you have, you might pay $300, $400 when you could do it yourself. So
Right.
to me, it shouldn't be taboo or double standard that, oh, uh-uh, I don't want my daughter out there bothering with a car. It could save her life one day. So to me, it's important, you know, and maybe it's just me, but that is my take on that. I don't think there's anything wrong with learning those simple things. To me, knowledge is power. You should be able to learn whatever it is that you want to know without the stigma, throwback, or shade. And good morning, Tony and Gladys. Thank y'all for tuning in. What do you think about that, Anastasia?
Oh, absolutely, Miss Deborah. I remember my car needed an air filter, and it's so funny that you would mention that because I went to the auto store. No, I spoke to my mechanic first, and he told me that it needed an air filter. And then I went to the store because he told me to go and get it, and then he'll put it in for me and whatever else. I don't even remember what he was going to charge me to do it. But when I went to the auto store, the guy that was assisting me, he was like, let me check your car and make sure that this is the right type of filter that you're gonna need. And I'm like, okay, then fine. And so popped the hood, and it was right in the corner. And he opened the casket, took the old filter out, popped the new one in, and then says, okay, this is how much is for the filter. I'm like, okay, so this was really all it took? Like, just pop this one out, put the next one in. And now, as the salesman, it was his opportunity to make sure that I purchased the filter from him and that I purchased it there because it was already in the car. And I wasn't about to tell him, okay, take your stuff out. Let me go and check another place to see if the price is better or whatever else. No, I'm not going to do that anymore because you already put it in for me and everything. I'm looking at it as customer service. So he's winning by, trying to make sure that I purchase the filter there from him. But I would have ended up taking the filter to my mechanic and having to pay him to do the exact same thing that this guy just did in 2 seconds, not knowing, thinking that it's something so invasive and you got to get in this position and lay down and do all this other stuff in order to get to it. And there it was. But what I do also realize is that I don't know if anybody in our audience can attest to this, but when I was growing up, my school offered auto body option as your elective, what we call electives, like special subjects that you would learn outside of the basic, the core subjects. And so auto body was an option, and cosmetology was an option, along with art and business and whatever else. And when a student is coming into the school and they didn't choose their elective yet or anything like that, they were automatically separated based on their sex. The guys were automatically put in auto body or mechanics, and the girls were automatically put in cosmetology.
Right.
And there was no, there wasn't so much of choices to say that, no, I actually, as a guy, I actually have interest in hair and skincare and nails and whatever else. Or as a girl to say, no, listen, I want to know how to put a car together because me and my brother been doing it or my dad been showing me it and I want to continue. Like that wasn't really an option. It was so unheard of that a girl would want to go into auto mechanics or a boy would want to go into cosmetology, that if they actually fought for that ability to choose, you are thought of as being either gay or lesbian.
Mm.
Like, why would a girl want to be in auto mechanics if she's not? Or why would a guy want to tinker with hair and stuff like that if he's not? When it could just actually be your interest.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with it being your interest because I've seen where there was this young man, he was still in school and he was making wigs for celebrities. Like he is so detail oriented and he is so good at it that he is making wigs for celebrities now. There's a dad that has gone famous for making princess dresses for his daughter.
Mm.
And his dresses, they are like two-way dresses because it starts out as a short dress and then you pull this string and it's a long dress and she's just twirling and she is just, I mean, and her dad makes her dresses for her. So sewing and hair and all of these things, if that is your interest, then embrace the interest. There's money out here to be made in all facets, in all areas and avenues. And if it's something that interests you so strongly, you may be that person that's able to come into that industry and make a real change. But the next thing is, since we're talking about making change, making that money, um, men being able to move back home and women being able to move back home after they've already moved out. It has been easier accepted, and you will always hear, oh, my daughter, she can come back home at any time.
All right.
Oh, if he's giving her trouble, no, 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 they come back home, come back home. You can come home. You don't have to deal with that. You don't have to put up with that. Always. My dad always told me. My mom tells me too. If it was a situation where I was not in my own place, which I am, and I am, living with a guy, no, 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 it's okay. You could come back home. But for men, being able to come back home is not so easy
All right.
because it is thought and felt that men are supposed to be able to stand on their own feet no matter what. They are supposed to be the providers and they're supposed to be the caregivers. Not the caregivers, but they're supposed to be the breadwinners. And so for a young man to come out and say that, okay, you know what? I did move out. My girlfriend and I were living together, or he may have been living on his own. but the unexpected cost of living was too great. And so I would like to come back home for a year, 2 years, or something like that. Let me hold on to some money. Let me try to get in a better financial position, or maybe their job changed or their job market changed, the supply and demand changed. And so they're no longer making the amount of money that they used to make or able to do the things that they used to do. They had to get a pay cut or their hours were cut or something of that nature. The open door, the revolving door that is given to women and females to say that you can come back home, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, you can't pay your rent this month. Here, let me pay the rent for you. And, things like that. It's not as welcomed, it's not as accepted, it's not so openly given to young men. And so they're put in a position where they have to suck it up
Yeah.
and suffer for a while if that's the point that it gets to. And it shouldn't be. In the same way that you're open and welcoming for Susie to come back home, you should be open and welcoming for Brad to come back home, because the cost of living isn't different, male to female. The cost, the taxes, the expenses, while your expenses are your choice. If you're one of those females, whereas you feel the need to get your nails done every week and whatever else, every 2 weeks, you need to get a hairdo every 2 weeks and things like that. Your expenses are your choice.
Yeah.
Some men, they choose that they got to go to the barber every week. They can't let that shape up start to fade. Like, they need to stay crisp. That line has to be there. There are men that need to eat at a certain place, or like, I know gentlemen that do not do their own laundry. And so, in order for their laundry to get done, they have to take it to the laundromat and pay the ladies there to wash, fold, hang, iron everything for them. And so, it is a choice of lifestyle. Your expenses are your own choice. Because for one like me, I'm a daddy's girl. So, when you talk about tinkering with the car, I'm not exactly tinkering with no car. But I do know how to check my oil. I do know how to put air in my tire or change my tire and put on a spare. Like, there are certain things that I do know how to do. And when it comes to like washing my car and stuff like that, I'm not really going to pay somebody to do that on a regular basis because it's something that I can do myself. So it also cuts down on my expenses. So when you're living on your own as a man or as a woman, you have to look at your expenses, the expenses and the lifestyle that you've created to help you with determining if you're able to stand on your own and stay out there in your own place. But if he needs to come home, let him come home. There's nothing wrong with him coming home. Let him save a few dollars.
Yeah.
And then when we do allow him to come home, you're going to want him to chip in on the bills and to help with the mortgage and help with the grocery and things like that. Him coming home, her coming home was in an effort to save money, not to continue spending almost the same amount of money in your household that they were spending living on their own. You know?
All right.
Help me out with this, Miss Deborah. Maybe I may be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I
Maybe
agree.
someone in the audience can tell us.
Yeah, I agree because and then too, when they're in the house, we tend to want to push the guys out as well. Our young ladies, our daughters, they can stay as long as they want. But the
Yeah.
young men, oh, he need to get out. He need to get on his own. But I can remember when my youngest son, when he came home, after he graduated from college, he came back home, and it was fine. There were certain things he had to pay, but then he said, "Mom, I think I'm gonna buy a condo." I said, "Okay," and he said, I looked at what I make, and I think I know I can make the payments. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, but do this for me. You know, some parents would have said, okay, all right, when you need me to help you fill out the application. But I was like, okay, so you said that you'll be able to make the mortgage payments. What I need you to do, though, is think about you also going to have HOA. That might be an annual amount. It might be monthly. You also have utilities, so you're going to have to pay electric, maybe water. You're going to have your cable. You're going to have your phone bill and all of this. You got to think about all that. You got to have renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance. So if I were you, what I would do while you're home, I would figure out how much all that's going to cost, and then save that for maybe 6 months to see if you're able to manage it. Well, next thing I know, he was just staying like, see, because he hadn't thought about all that. But, you know, we would jump and say, he a man, that's right. He need to get out and get on his own. But we need to work together, I think. And that's where we make a lot of mistakes. We don't talk to our kids. And that's why I teach basic principles. We don't talk to them and teach them certain things. And then they get out there and they're floundering. And it's like, okay, if you're a man, well, you out there, you need to stay out there. But mama's baby, if she's a girl, she can come back. So I think a lot of that comes into play. But we do need to work with them, I believe.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. All right. Next one I'm going to talk about is should males have later curfews than females? And, you know, I think a lot of times, and I know my knowledge of it, so maybe it has changed, but my knowledge of it is, well, you can start dating at a certain age, but a lot of people think that the young men can start dating earlier than the young ladies. Well, I disagree. I think that it depends on a lot of factors. And what I would base it on is the maturity of the individual. Because you can have a 16-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son, and she might be very much more mature than this son. She thinks rationally, thinking about taking care of herself. She knows that, you know, I need to keep money with me, my phone with me, charged at all times. He might just think, hey, I can go out there, do what I want to do. It's okay. So what's the maturity level? And then, can you trust them? You know, if you are right now having problems getting them to come home from school, you tell them to come straight home from school, but they don't do that. They go and do this and do that and hang out with different people. How responsible are they? If you ask them to be responsible for a younger sibling, do they say, oh, I need to go out, don't tell mom and dad, and they just leave them? Do they have positive attitude? How do they think? Are they gonna think, hey, I'm a guy, I can go out here and do whatever I want to do. Consequences are not on me. I'm a man. I can just do me. There are consequences. Do they know that? Have you had those conversations with them? You know, you don't go out there and do anything that you're not supposed to do at your age. You know, I'm not going to get into all that today because it's not that conversation, but there are certain things that you have to take responsibility for as well. Your own body, a young lady's body. You don't want to bring kids into the world that you can't take care of with someone that you're not, that you don't love and plan to spend the rest of your life with. There are certain things that you got to think about. So it's not okay that it's a guy. So we just going to say, okay, you're 15, you can go date. You're 16, you can go date. Like, huh? What? You know, so I believe it takes more than age. You know, young ladies, you get back to, again, into that double standard, because if it's a young lady, if she's 16 and you say, okay, you can go date, you got a son, he's 16, so you got some twins, so they're the same age. Are they at the same maturity level? You tell both of them they can go out and date. If the girl gets in trouble, what's going to happen? She's going to have a baby. She's going to be responsible for it. She's going to have to change her lifestyle. Young man, he should have to do the same things, but in a lot of cases, they don't. It's like, oh,
Right.
my bad. I know I'm working on going to school. I have to be involved in my football. I got to stay in school because I want to get a scholarship and I want to play pro ball. And, I'll be able to take care of the child. And then next 2, 4, 5 years, you don't even know who they are. They don't remember you. So even though they were the same age, you allowed them to go do the same things. They're not going to be treated the same way. So it's not,
Right.
to me, a cut and dry thing as of age. You need to take in trustworthiness, maturity, what kind of mindset they have, how they think, and then weigh those things and then come up with a curfew time. I wouldn't just think, a girl should be older or a boy younger, a male, female. Shouldn't call them boys and girls, but that's my opinion on that. But I do think that there currently is a double standard because we just automatically say young men should be able to start dating earlier.
Miss Deborah, in our culture, in behavior culture, it is actually pushed and encouraged for boys to have those little girlfriends. But when a girl miss and has that little slip of the tongue and says, "Ah, daddy, that's my boyfriend." No, 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 you can't have no boyfriend. You can't have no boyfriend until you're 31. My daughter's dad actually literally told her 31. She's not allowed to have a boyfriend until she's 31. Now, as for my son, because I have one of each and they're only 2 years apart, same, same dad, he encouraged him. Oh, who you dating now? Who you talking to? How much girlfriends you have? Yeah, that's a conversation that you want to play around with and have with a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy, and it's okay. But when my daughter just starts having any kind of conversation about any boy, oh no, 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 you're not no, you can't have no boyfriend, you can't. No, it's definitely not the same thing. And my daughter is older than my son. So that makes it even worse. But culturally here, it is entirely encouraged. Oh yeah, you go ahead. How much girls you have, man? Yeah, you need to. But on the girls' end of it, no. Uh-uh. What are you talking to that boy for? Boys only want this from you. Boys don't take you serious at this age. Boy, all of it. There's this entire beat down of listen, stay focused on your schoolwork, worry about getting you a good job, do this, do that, and the next thing. And then you can worry about boys later or worry about guys later. But it's the reverse when it comes to guys and the boys here. Like
Mm.
you you're not a real young man yet until you messing around with a girl. That's a part of your proving that you're a man when you have a girlfriend. But then I also love how you reference a pregnancy situation because that is still a real thing also. If a girl gets pregnant, she did not do it on her own. She did not do it by herself. But the majority of the blow is felt on her end and within her family. He is still able to live life, have fun, and do everything that he wants to do. And that is not only in young men, but that is in grown men also.
Mm.
Grown men, like grown men are still doing the same thing. They, the woman is left with the impact of having to change her life and sort out the babysitter and sort out school and sort out all of these other things while he's able to just go ahead, live life and maybe, give a financial contribution here and there. But it also lends to the thought of if, which is our next double standard, if giving a earlier curfew or a different curfew to men or young men as opposed to young women is something that makes a difference or, kind of curves any sort of behavior because that's a common thing also.
Mhm.
Whereas a young girl, you got to be inside the house before dark falls. That's our type of curfew. You got to be inside the house before dark falls. But I literally just listened to the news yesterday, and they were talking about a 10-year-old boy that got shot on his way from getting food at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Mhm.
Why? Why? You're 10. You're supposed to be in bed. Where all of our schools are on midterm break right now. Well, most of our schools are on midterm break right now, but still, you're 10. You should be in bed. What foolish place are you being sent to at 1 o'clock in the morning at 10 years old? And it's okay. And what type of area is it? Because I don't recall the area that this happened, but what type of area is it that you're in that has this type of activity and you're allowed to be out at that type of hour at that age? It's completely ridiculous. The I am almost certain that there is a young lady inside of that same household, but she wasn't the one that was sent out at that hour of the night to go and run that errand. It was him. And he ended up in a situation that I'm sure nobody predicted would happen. But having a curfew in the dating world or, just as after school activities and things like that is still a real thing. And it does differentiate between boys and girls because a boy would be able to say, oh, okay, then after practice, I went to this place with my friends, or I'm going to this place with my friends, or whatever else. And it would be a lot easier accepted than for a girl to say, oh, well, I hanging out at this one house, or we're going to catch a movie after studying or whatever else. It's not as easily accepted, at least definitely not here. You can maybe tell me about how it is on your side of the planet, on in your neck of the woods, or we can have our online guests give comments to any of these double standards that we've been talking about today. Have you experienced this double standard? Have you witnessed this double standard? Is this something that you're still witnessing, or has it been done away with in your family? You can let us know in the comments. But Miss Deborah, what do you think about the curfews that are established?
Well, the curfews, not only the curfews, it's the start time. You know, I'm used to things starting early. So you're home, especially we talking teenagers. So I'm talking teenagers. So to me, if they having an event, it shouldn't go past 12 o'clock. But I see young people, their events starting at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So I'm thinking you don't have a curfew, you just go home when you get ready. I know the world has changed, but not that I want to be, living in the dark ages, but I know the dangers that are out there, the situations that you can run into, how you can ruin your reputation, your credibility, your name. And there is no good things going on after a certain time. Just like you say, 1 a.m. Why was a 10-year-old out? 10-year-old should have been turning over for the third or fourth time in the bed.
Exactly. Hmm.
It's just ridiculous to me. You know, it just baffles me sometimes. I'm thinking, are people not thinking? I can just imagine, but I don't always say, I am so glad I had my kids. Oh, that I'm older and had my kids years back because I can just imagine the battles that we would be having now because they would be saying, well, my friend, I don't care about your friend.
Yeah.
You can't do that. No, they might be just going to the party, but guess what? You got an hour and you got to be back up in here. And don't let me
Yeah.
have to come look for you. because that will not be pretty.
No.
So those curfews. I think
Yeah.
I just, I don't understand. There's just so much, like I keep saying, there's so much going on, but I have to continue to say that because I'm seeing it every week, and I don't know if people get to the point where they're just copying what they see someone else do, but you have these mass shootings and you think, oh my goodness, this, people will be safer now, blah, blah, blah. But it's not a point of people being more safer. Is that people continue to do the same things. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to the mall. You can't go to the doctor's office. You can't go anywhere, unless you're like this. You
Right.
see anybody strange or whatever. Last night, it wasn't even, it was night. I guess it was, trying to think. It wasn't night. It was probably about 6:30 maybe. We were going to a store, Walgreens, to pick up a prescription. And we park. And as soon as my husband got out, this young lady approaches him. And I was like, so when he got back in the car, I was like, I thought I was going to have to get out. He talking about, huh? I said, I thought I was going to have to get out and get her straight. Time you jump out the car, she just all up in his face. Like, what, lady? She talking about, you got some change. But what was she willing to do for the change? People, I don't know what she wanted, why she was in his face, but I was going to get her out.
She was willing to do something strange for that change, Miss Deborah.
Yeah. So it's just, it's just crazy. Like I said earlier when I was talking about breaking down, if I were to break down, I would just sit there and thank God for technology and cell phones, because I'm not willing to let somebody come and help me. We say people are not kind anymore, but you can't let people help you because they may have done something to your car to disable it so they can do something to you, and that's a sad state. But it's just, I don't know. That's all I can say about that. But I think it's a good talk, and there still are, to me, double standards. I'm sorry that our guests didn't come on, because I know that y'all had a lot y'all could have said about these double standards, and I can be still in the dark ages and thinking all wrong. So I really did want to see some input. So you can even go back and put it in your comments, and that will help help us in the future. So even if you didn't put it on this morning, please go back and put some comments and let us know what you think about these double standards.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, again, we thank you for coming on here. And I know this is a busy day for a lot of people, so we won't hold you any longer. But Anastasia, as we close out, please tell everybody about your platform and how to get connected with you.
Okay. My platform is Be Becoming on Facebook and Instagram. It is B with a space on for Instagram. It has an underscore, Becoming. And that's how you can reach me. I deal in youth mentorship and career path development for young people currently.
Thank you so much. And please make sure you check out my website, www.buildyourbestlife.org. You can read the blogs that come out each Monday. You can see our calendar of events as well. You can check out the services that I offer, which is speaking, webinar speaking, coaching, and consultations. And I know that, my niche is assisting young men. So our young men are not swift to contact me to say, hey, I need help. But parents, grandparents, mentors, y'all know if you are dealing with someone and this could be a great help for them. So you can encourage them to seek that assistance, because I am here to help. I want to see our young people thrive and do the things that we know that they have the purpose to do. So I am here to help. But thank you so much for tuning in today, Anastasia. And I love to come on each fourth Saturday and talk to you about real topics, real talk, And, we look forward to having you back on next fourth Saturday with another exciting topic. And so,
Mhm.
Anastasia, do you have anything else before we get out of here?
Before we do get out of here, I do want to mention our Chucks and Pearls series. There's another one coming out. And then also our effective living. I've got Fifth Mondays. Which Monday do you have?
I have fourth Monday. So I'll be on this Monday at 7 Central Time. YouTube.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes. Chucks and Pearls. We will be on the third Saturday of March, so make sure you tune in for that. Thank you, Anastasia.
No
And
problem.
also, reach out Tuesday, February 28th, the last one for February. I cannot believe it. With my special guest will be Minister Carolyn Cuffey from Chesapeake, Virginia, and we're going to be talking about the $1 million question. So please, please, please tune in. And again, we thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, it's all about reaching out. So as you're out along your busy day, you may encounter a young man that has lost his way. Don't shake your head. Don't steady your pace. Stop, reach out, and give the man a helping hand. Y'all need to reach out. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. Love you, be blessed, stay safe. Enjoy your weekend, Anastasia.
You too, Miss Deborah.
Bye-bye.